Jim Jones, or should I say Capo, is back outside again with these versus conversations and challenge talk once more. And listen, we've seen this energy from him before, whether it was last year or even earlier when he pulled up on the Breakfast Club talking about wanting smoke with Styles P. He was confidently saying things like he could outshine basically any New York rapper outside of the absolute top tier, and that he was ready to take on anybody in a versus. And yeah, after the Dipset versus the Lox battle, he even admitted they lost because they weren't on the same page, while still giving the Lox their respect for handling business that night. But let's be real, since then, Jim has been in and out of online back and forths with Cameron and others, always keeping his name in those conversations. There was even a point where he started claiming he was more lit than Nas, which immediately got shut down once people started bringing receipts and comparing catalogs. But that's just Jim Jones' energy though. He talks heavy, he moves loud, and he knows exactly how to keep people talking, which is why he's even calling himself the algorithm bender now. You see him dropping podcast content, interviews, and even new episodes with artists like Young Blue, staying active in the media space while still throwing these little jabs online. Now today, he randomly jumped out and reignited that Cameron conversation again, basically challenging him to a one-on-one versus while blaming him for how the Dipset performance went at the Apollo. He was out here saying things like, "Tell your man I want to do a versus with him," and even telling people to call Swizz and make it happen, while keeping that same joking but serious tone. And if we are being honest, there's probably a lot of behind-the-scenes Harlem politics and conversations going on that we don't even know about, because these two always seem to throw subliminals and little jabs at each other every now and then, so this isn't completely out of nowhere. But let's address one thing clearly. The Dipset versus the Lox situation wasn't just about one person, it was a group performance issue from start to finish. The Lox came in prepared, structured, and unified. They were bouncing off each other, finishing bars, and performing like a real synchronized unit. Meanwhile, Dipset looked unorganized on stage, not fully rehearsed, and lacked that same level of cohesion that versus battles demand. And that difference in preparation is really what decided the outcome more than anything else that night. Now, personally speaking, if we talk about the straight versus matchup between Jim Jones and Cameron, I still gotta learn Cameron overall because of the catalog and cultural impact. At the end of the day though, this is one of those debates that really comes down to performance, execution, and what moment hits harder in the room. So I want y'all to jump in the comments and tell me who you got winning in that versus and why, because this one is definitely debatable.
It really kind of felt like Dipset as the Fly Guys showed up just trying to be flashy and turn up. Like, listen to this. They came in thinking they had the most popular records and the biggest moments, but what they actually displayed on that stage was a lack of real coordination and preparation. And at the end of the day, no matter how they tried to spin it, they were already behind before things even got fully rolling because they weren't rehearsed or locked in together as a unit. Now, keeping it all the way 1,000, when you compare Jim Jones and Cameron in a direct versus battle, Cam definitely has the bigger mainstream records overall. Of course, Jim Jones got his moments too, like Ballin', which went crazy in its own right, but Cam just has more widely recognized hits that people instantly react to. And let's not act like Jim doesn't have his own catalog though, because he really did grow into a solid artist over time. I remember when he was dropping those Harlem mixtapes and videos back in the day, and he was definitely applying pressure in that era. He's got records like We Fly High, Certified Gangsters, My State of Mind, and even strong feature verses that people still remember today. That verse on Feds Taking Pictures alone is something fans still bring up when discussing his best work. So it's not like Jim Jones is without records, because he absolutely has songs that would hit in a versus setting. But if we being real about mainstream recognition, Cameron edges it because of records like Oh Boy, Hey Ma, and other classics that are instantly recognizable. You also gotta factor in those major cultural records and placements, like his Kanye collaborations and other big moments that helped define that era. Now, whether this battle ever actually happens or not is a different story, because Cameron doesn't really seem interested in stepping into a versus with Jim at all. At this point, Jim Jones might just be talking to keep the conversation alive and stay in the algorithm more than anything else. And honestly, the Dipset era in general is still legendary no matter how you slice it. From Jim, Cam, Jules Santana, Max B connections, all of that Harlem energy was special. I'm always going to be a fan of that whole wave because it had a real cultural impact, especially those Dipset volume tapes and early 2000s runs. But at the same time, you can't ignore what the Lox brought to the table either, because they came in with structure, hunger, and complete group chemistry. That We Are the Streets era still holds up heavy, and Jadakiss, Styles P, and Sheek Louch were locked in as a true unit. So at the end of the day, it's really a clash of two different styles of performance and preparation more than anything else. And with Jim jumping out there again on a holiday just stirring the pot, you already know Cam might respond whenever he feels like it. But overall, this whole thing feels more like entertainment and online back and forth than anything that's actually going to turn into a real versus battle.
And pull up, chat. Capo Stream Train. We on there. But for those who don't know what we got going on, Capo Stream Train first 50 get a special invite to the 50 Sub Club. We got 50 slots. The first 50 people will be part of Capo's Sub Club. We're doing a very special Subway Sub Club streaming event for the first 50 subbers, you heard? So sub up, sub up, sub up. Hurry up.
I'm gonna have to get more information on Gerald. Yeah, he say he's a Dolphin, but he sound like he the John Wick of Dolphins.
And he popping up. I just seen him. Y'all better keep playing in that water. Gerald out here. Let's see if he gonna pop up again. Tell me if you see them niggas again. Oh, there you go right there. You seen him?